Hey, it's a Ring student here, and today we're going to be talking about the comparable interface. So, the comparable interface is an interface in Java that allows us to compare some objects, and in the predetermined way, we can, for example, determine sort by size of number alphabetically based on the first letter in a string, for example. So, first of all, just showcase. We have the predetermined set of Java. For example, here I have a string array cities of Savannah, Boston, Atlanta, Tampa. And then I will just use java.util.arrays.sort on my cities array. And then I just print the array. So after it's been sorted, we can now see the order has been changed to be alphabetically. So we had Atlanta first, A, B, S, T. But what's also very interesting about the comparable interface is that we can actually implement it in our own classes and then tell it how to actually sort these different objects. So I will remove this example, and then I have created a rectangle. So this is just a normal class. We have two attributes, a private final double width and a private final double height. We have a constructor where we can add the width and the height. We have a getArea method that allows us to get the area of our rectangle, which is just the width multiplied by the height. And then I override to string to be able to get the width and the height printed to the screen. But what I would like to do is create a new Java class, and let's call it comparable rectangle. So what we would do inside a comparable rectangle is, first of all, we would like to extend our rectangle, and we would implement the comparable constructor or the rectangle constructor, and then use the super keyword to access it. And then we would also like to implement comparable. And what we'd also like to do is actually tell it what we will be comparing. So we're just telling it here, it will be the comparable rectangle. Implement it again. So what we're telling it is we will be comparing this object to another object of the same type. So how we will be doing it is the comparable works with the compare to method. And the compare to method works in the way that if we are before, so in this case we're looking at the area function, so we'll simply do a if get area. So if our area of this object is larger than the area of the O dot get area, so we'll be comparing the areas from our object, and then the object we'll be comparing it to. If our object is larger than the compared object, we will just return 1. Else, if the other way around, so our object is smaller than the other object, we would return -1. And else, which would be if the area is exactly the same size, we would return 0. So this allows us now to actually compare comparable rectangles. So what we can do inside our main method, we could create an array of comparable rectangles. Yes, we would now create a comparable rectangle array called rectangle, which we would just fill with some random new comparable rectangles with some random widths and heights. There we go. Let's create a few more. There we go. And we'd actually like to change our, because we're just going to be printing it after, so we'd actually like to implement our toString method inside our comparable rectangles, where we actually print the super.toString plus, and we'd like to return super.toString plus area. There we go. So now we have this. Let's make sure they are in random. There we go. So now if we just print our array, we'd get, so we'd like to print some comparable rectangles, rectangle in rectangles, and we would just print our rectangles. So if we just print them now, you can see they are randomly, or they are not like in sorted correctly, because I just created them randomly. So now we would like to do java.util. Arrays.sort, and then put rectangles, and then we would like to print it again. So let's create just another space like that. So now when we run the program, we first have the random order, and then we have the sorted order, smallest, and so on. So that is basically the comparable interface, where we implement the comparable interface and we then override the compare to method, which allow us to determine how are we going to compare these objects. And in this case, we compare them by the getArea method. So that's the basics of the comparable interface. Hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.